Week 14 of the SFL brings us to the Steel City. The Pittsburgh Riverhogs hosting a Fort Worth Toros team that makes their playoff chances much better with a win here tonight. Welcome into the broadcast booth high above the field. Chris Curtis alongside Mark Lopez. And we are on the way to what could be a pretty, troubling matchup for Fort Worth tonight if they can't get a win.
Definitely troubling for them. However, they're coming into this game as favorites, at least given their record. They're going up against Pittsburgh Riverhogs, record of 3-7. But Chris, I think tonight, if history, the last 5 weeks for Fort Worth has been any indication, we might get a close game in our hands here.
Very well could be. A lot of playoff implications coming up with this game at the end result. Fort Worth with a win gets their 7th win, which historically has been the magic number to get into the playoffs in the SFL in the current format, but that's not always the case. Getting a win tonight, though, makes their job a lot easier, and it means they won't have a Week 15 game where they could blow it all up if they lose that one. We're underway. Fort Worth's going to start with this football. It's a touchback just in front of the back of the end zone, and we are going to the Fort Worth offense. Eric Price and Jet Zero, along with Jay-Z Bacon, your quarterback and 2 halfbacks. Aaron Alexander, your fullback. Henry McGee, Cade Stevens, Stephen Hacker in the wide receiving trio. Robert Garrett Jr. or RGJ, the Cowboy, is the tight end, along with James Jennings. And it is Duke LaRue, Emilio Panda, Jaleel LaRue, and Frank Burks, your offensive line for the Toros. 1st and 10 is going to be a handoff right away, and that is going to be Jet Zero with the first carry of the ball game, and it's a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, Jet Zero has been doing pretty well for Fort Worth. 183 carries, 695 yards. A solid season for him with 2 more games to go. He's going to be the core of this rushing offense.
Price will hand it off again. This time he goes to Jay-Z Bacon for a 4-yard gain. Makes it a 3rd and short for Fort Worth. And you wonder really what they're going to try here, Mark. Playbook's wide open.
Absolutely, but looks like a heavy set here. And they really like to convert 3rd and short with the runs all season long.
And you may be prophetic to that. I think that's where they're going. Heavy set look. Fullback moves off to the right. They're going to stretch it out that way. Bacon Zero with a chance, and he's going to get through that line. It'll be a 1st and 10 for Fort Worth. They get their first down of the ball game.
And Vasquez attempting to clean up the one-on-one tackle, but just pushed backwards for the first down.
1st and 10 for Fort Worth. The 31-yard line. Going to push it out to the outside. That is not very far on that run. They have yet to throw the ball yet, but they have a couple of nice runs to show for their efforts. So why do it? It's Tommy Wilbert-Bussey on the tackle for Pittsburgh. 2nd and 9 for Fort Worth. 4-3 look on defense for Pittsburgh. Delayed handoff through the middle, and that'll be a roll as Zero's going to get a couple of yards through the middle. It'll be 3rd and 4 coming up.
I mean, this is Fort Worth brand football, right? Eric Price has attempted passes, the 25th most passes. It's bottom of the league, near the bottom of the league in terms of attempts. They really like running the ball, but they're going to pass this time.
There's a chance. Price going to wing it right side, and it's picked off. You saw that coming into double coverage. That's not ideal for the Toros. Tom Krieg, the cornerback, with the pick.
His first pick of the season in double coverage against who? I believe that was Hacker, who was covered right here. That pass a little overthrown outside of Hacker's reach and into the reach of Krieg's hands. What a defensive play and poor decision by Price.
That'll bring up the Pittsburgh offense led by Ace Fennick, Mike Churchill, and BB Blitz. We'll get to the rest here in just a moment, but a big-time turnover created against a team with the top 3 turnover differential in the SFL. Here's a chance for Fennick, right side, and deep, and probably should have been caught. That's a big-time drop, and he's going to be kicking himself for that. It's Devin Lloyd.
Yep, the speedster of this Pittsburgh offense. Devin Lloyd, the 3rd season player, was in the All-Star last season. But you saw right there, coulda, shoulda, woulda, as they like to say.
Keith Wheeler, the fullback, lined up directly behind Ace Fennick. 2nd and 10. To throw is Fennick. He backs up another 3 steps over the middle, and that is an accurate ball and a tight window to fit that one into, but they do just that. Ziggy Ronick with the grab.
Yeah, Ziggy Ronick, very productive season by Ziggy on milestone watch this evening. See here, 67 yards away from 5,000 career receiving yards. We'll see if he can get those yardage numbers.
This is a heavy set look pitch play. Going to try to move it left. Not going to get there. That's a big time tackle and a loss of a yard. And Fort Worth is going to force the 4th down. That is Adam Leach who comes up to lay the hit. And it'll be a punt for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they tried to attack the outside. Unfortunately, Fort Worth ready for that outside run, sent all their DBs to tackle, and good 3rd down stop.
Vita Lee is going to be the punter for Pittsburgh. That's going to bounce at the 5 and then into the end zone for the eventual touchback. And Fort Worth survives after giving up the interception. Eric Price going to have a short memory, but they don't pay for it on this occasion, at least. Fort Worth starts from their own 20-yard line.
That punt going into the end zone. Vita Lee, league leader in average punt yards, but probably too much sauce on that one.
1st and 10 for Fort Worth. Move a receiver into the slot on the right-hand side. Delayed handoff. They go back to Jet Zero, who's going to bully his way forward for 9 yards. Jet Zero, the longtime Queen City Corsair, debuted season 14 in the SFL as a fullback in this league, and he's now a halfback for these Fort Worth Toros staff. They're happy to have him, no doubt about that, as it's 2nd and 1. Offset I formation, tight ends off to the left, pitch play to the left. JZ Bacon is stopped behind the line.
What?
3rd and 4, and a big-time tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
It was Dimitri Manzuma. We're not going to get a replay, but he burst out of the line to slow down Zero, and then Krieg just cleaned the tackle. That was an easy tackle for loss for Pittsburgh.
And a big-time 3rd down. They got to get it to the 30-yard line for the 1st. Price has the football. 5-step drop, throws left side. That one's caught.
Nice.
Gets it all the way to the 40-yard line, and that's Stephen Hacker's first catch of the ball game.
Just a simple vertical route by Hacker. Once again, though, in some kind of coverage, but just enough room for Hacker to catch this. Actually, a break into the inside on the post route, and the one-on-one man defender unable to deflect that pass.
As a smart route ran by Stephen Hacker as well. You said he went to the inside of the post. He actually slowed down for his quarterback a little bit and let the defender run right by him. A little bit of an okey doke there. 1st and 10. Tight end off to the left. That's going to be through the middle. Jet Zero gets a few more yards added to his totals as they get closer to midfield. 5 and 17 left in this already fast-moving first quarter.
It's going to be the MO for Fort Worth, which has been their MO all season long. Run, get to 3rd and short. Otherwise, pass on 3rd and long. They're going to run here 2nd and 7.
And they nearly get the 1st down. JZ Bacon on the delayed handoff is going to get stopped just short of the 1st down marker. And here comes the 3rd down offense again for the Fort Worth Toros. Tommy Welbrick Bussey on the stop there. Here's a key 3rd down. Need to get it just to midfield for the 1st. Handoff through the middle. Zero is stopped, and they will have to punt it away. 4th and 2, and they'll try to pin Pittsburgh deep.
Pittsburgh once again breaking through behind the line of scrimmage, as was that Bacon on the handoff. Tried to cut to the left, but just enough room for the defenders to get to him. What another key defensive stop by Pittsburgh.
Dimitri Manzuma on the stop there for Pittsburgh. Punt is end over end. Fair catch called for and taken at the 16-17 yard line. And Pittsburgh's 2nd drive, they're going to try to make it a little more eventful than the 1st. We're still scoreless here in the 1st quarter.
A low scoring game by both teams.
Here comes the Riverhawks. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. I formation. They're going up against a nickel defense that Fort Worth comes out in. That's Roenick in motion off to the right. Going to create a bit of a maybe pick scenario. This will be a run play off to the left. Not a lot to it. 2nd and 10 as the run goes nowhere.
Yeah, great run coverage right there by Fort Worth. That was free safety Ben Stone. So the DBs really working the butts off covering these run routes to the outside.
Fennick is under center in the I formation. Going to try to find something to pick on against this Fort Worth defense. That's a spin move and a couple of yards going forward. 3rd and 4. And Mike Churchill makes it a much easier 3rd down.
Yeah, it looked like it was either Vincent or Jackson. One of the linebackers blitzed the inside gap, but not Price, the halfback Churchill run to the other gap that was left wide open.
Nickel look again, 3rd and 4. Pittsburgh trying to keep this short drive alive, and that's not going to do it. Gets stuck behind a blocker, and he's taken down hard, and that is going to create a punting scenario again for the Pittsburgh Riverhawks.
The outside runs, they've been attacking it, but Fort Worth have been shutting them down all night. I say all night. It's been only a third, 3/4 of the first quarter done.
Punt is up and gone from Vita Lee. It's returnable from the 32-yard line. And getting up to the 39-yard line is the returner, Cade Stevens, on this play. Here comes Eric Price for Fort Worth's 3rd possession of the ball game.
Well, I think if there's any change of plans, Chris, I think they want to see more passes to Ziggy Roenick, their leader as far as receptions, yards, and touchdowns to get this ball going for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and on the other side, Stephen Hacker has 1 target and 1 catch, or 2 targets and 1 catch in this game. He could use some more for the Fort Worth offense. That's going to be a run and a roll to finish the tackle. Jet 0 gets 4 more yards for the Fort Worth offense as they make 2nd down a little easier.
It's nothing changed for Fort Worth in this drive. They really just have to clean up what they did in the first 2 drives.
It's through the middle and a couple more yards to add to the totals. JZ Bacon on it. 3rd and 2. 3rd and short situations for both teams have been a struggle. Fort Worth has lost 2 of those, and we'll see if they can get one here on 3rd time's the charm. Eric Price is going to be in the I formation. They've got 1 receiver out wide. I believe that's Hacker up there, top of your screen. Handoff, right side. That's not going to do it. The run game is stifled again, and a big-time hit. Pittsburgh finds a stop, and it's another Toros punt. We remain scoreless.
We're watching 2 teams bash their heads against one wall without changing anything and getting the same result. That man, Curtis, what a defensive struggle by either team.
Both teams having problems getting the yardage. That'll be a punt all the way down to the 17-yard line, return to the 19, and no further than that. Pittsburgh going to try to find something to work with now as they're back on the field with 93 seconds to go in a very fast-moving first quarter.
And if I'm going to hazard a guess, we might start with the run here as they've had every single drive so far.
That'd be a pretty realistic guess as far as that goes, but instead they'll go the other way. That's a pass over the middle, and that is a catch. Big-time catch and a 1st down. Pittsburgh's first down in quite a while, and they find Mike Twinscrew, the wide receiver.
And the nice arrow route here, just the slant into the open space of the zone for the nice throw to Twinscrew, who picks up 14 for his team. And that's going to give them a 1st down, and probably the first down they've seen in a long while.
It's Fennick with the dart over the middle. Just going to try to make it happen on 1st and 10. It'll be a handoff. Good stiff arm. Gets to the outside, turns the corner. Going to have a 1st down and a couple more. And that is ideal for BB Blitz. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh.
I'm going to give credit to Keith Wheeler and Mike Twinscrew. There's the first block by Wheeler. And then look at the extra block by Twinscrew, number 84 there, who gave enough room for Blitz to go out for a 12-yard run. Insane stuff. They need more of this if they want to, steal a win against this Fort Worth, who have their sights placed on the playoffs.
Not a lot left in this first quarter of play. 46 seconds left in it. I formation. They will move Roenick right to left across the formation. Against the nickel look for the nickel corner in the slot, and delayed handoff and a stop
Nice.
right at the line of scrimmage. And that is E.K. Vincent with the giant hit at the line to gain.
Big hit. He had a TFL earlier in the quarter. Adds a second one or a second tackle to his name. Forcing 2nd and 10 now.
15 seconds left in the first, likely the last play we see of this first quarter. It'll be a handoff, and a big shoulder charge is going to knock down the defender and get a few yards going forward. BB Blitz will be the last person to touch the football before we end the first quarter of play. It's not a must win, but it would really, really help for Fort Worth. They're in a scoreless deadlock with the Pittsburgh Riverhogs in the Steel City. You're watching the SFL on VFN. Chris Curtis, Mark Lopez in the broadcast booth, Ron Haynes, and Justin Reside in the stats truck, and Cameron Irvine producing and commissioning in the background. Welcome in to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the second quarter. Bunch right for Ace Fennick. Roll out to the left. Fennick will wait, then will throw over the left side, and Roenick has the catch all the way down to the 28-yard line. That'll give him a chunk of the yards he needs towards his milestone.
That's a great route by Roenick, who was in the bunch of receivers on the right and runs what looks like a drag route, and that just moves him across the field, across all defenders, and Fennick enough time to make that nice, simple completion.
Chance in the single back for Pittsburgh to do something. Low over the middle. That one's caught to the 5 to the 3-yard line. And it's first and goal for the Riverhogs.
Tyler Gregory now with a targeted catch for 26 yards. Fennick is spreading the ball, spreading the love. And so far, he is 4 for 5 and in position to score the ball in with just a punch through.
Here we go. First and goal for Pittsburgh as they try to strike first against Fort Worth. Tusks up. Here comes the I formation. Throw over the middle, and it's incomplete. That is going to be a missed play for Ace Fennick, who had a chance and couldn't make it happen.
Had a chance there. Absolutely. Very close there. But it was first and goal, first and short. Trying to catch Fort Worth off guards there with the pass. I'm going to guess at this position, they might try to run it.
They passed from this formation last time. We'll see if they pass it again. Second and goal for Pittsburgh.
Pitch, maybe?
They've tried the pitch earlier. This will be a run through the middle, and he's in! That's a touchdown! It is BB Blitz with the score, and Pittsburgh's in front.
And he's now the lone leader in rushing touchdowns in the season with number 12. Prior, he was tied with Jason Williams, and that is key for Pittsburgh in stealing a game against Fort Worth. Fort Worth are going to have to answer back, and answer back hard.
Couple of big chunk plays sent Pittsburgh all the way down the field. They're an extra point away from putting themselves up 7-0. They get the extra point as that is up, and it is good from Otis Boudreau. So capping off an 81-yard drive. Wow. It's Pittsburgh making it happen. 7-0, and they kick the ball back to Fort Worth.
81 yards in one drive. Fort Worth has been allowing 343 yards per game. That is 19th in the league, so bottom 6 as far as yards allowed per game. So as far as yards generated, Pittsburgh is capitalizing, and they capitalized early.
That is going to be a return out to the 31-yard line. That is for Cade Stevens, and it'll be Fort Worth's football. When you're looking for the most up-to-date information on news and happenings in the Burgh, go to OneBurgh, Pittsburgh's largest social media network. Tune in on OneBurgh's Facebook and YouTube pages and check out their new series, The Incline Show. Fort Worth starts this next drive out from their own 31-yard line. They now have to answer what turned into a flurry of chunk plays and an eventual touchdown for the Riverhogs on their last drive. They're going to have to find some magic, see if they can get it done. That's Henry McGee in motion from left to right across the formation. Price will throw that way. Right side, that was caught. First and
Nice.
10. That's a great looking catch for Cade Stevens, his first grab of the game.
Kate Stevens, last season was, I wouldn't say, second in behind Hacker, but had way more catches and yards last season. This season, that's only his 14th that he catched today. For his total season, 176 yards prior to this game. They're going to need more production from him tonight.
It's a delayed handoff and a spin move for Jay-Z Bacon. He'll get himself He'll get himself 4 more yards for his total. 2nd and 6 for the River Hogs. They're getting closer to, or for the Toro, sorry. They're getting closer to midfield.
To 30 yards now for 0.
Yeah, he's been decent tonight. Just a couple minutes into this second quarter of play. Price in the I formation. Handoff right side, and the stretch play works out as they go a little bit off tackle there for Bacon. Make it 3rd and 3 as they're in plus territory.
And they're pulling their guards on those plays, trying to put extra bodies blocking with their running backs on the outside. They pick up maybe a couple yards here, but I think they're going to try to attack the inside this time, thinking Pittsburgh might expect the outside.
Against the 4-3, the rush is not going to work.
No.
3rd down rushing has been absolutely futile against this Pittsburgh Riverhawk defense. 0 goes down, and so does the Fort Worth drive. They're going to punt it back to the Riverhawks.
Yeah, 0 tried to be fancy, trying to cut back. It looked like change angle, cut in or out, and it was just too slow to generate any yardage and too slow to get the first down.
Decent punt down to the 15-yard line. That was dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah, that was wild, but they do get the ball. Regardless, Pittsburgh is going to start on their side of the 21-yard line. See what they can do. 1st and 10.
Yeah, Chris, I've seen some of those punt catches caught that way become fumbled and then returned by the opposing team, but luckily they caught it.
Nearly a muff punt for sure. I formation. Handoff left side for BB Blitz, and he will gain a yard, and I think that was generous at most. Ben Stone with the stop, 2nd and 9.
Benson with a great tackle, but also Jerry Degant on the other side in pursuit, forcing Blitz to run to the left instead of to the right. Otherwise, it would have been a bigger loss.
2nd and 9, Pittsburgh. Trying to find it on the delayed handoff. That'll be a gain of a couple. 3rd and 6. Not a lot there, though, for Mike Churchill, and that creates a 3rd and medium scenario, and both quarterbacks have struggled on 3rd down so far.
See here, Fennec did engineer the scoring drive last time. Empty set for him.
He will wait. Fennec now will throw over the middle. That's a long one, and it's Ziggy Ronick, and I think that's going to do it. That's his milestone.
He does get milestone. That is 5,000 career receiving yards for Ziggy Ronick. What a guy, and what a play by him and his quarterback. He runs underneath the double coverage, and you pointed out how Hacker slowed down in an earlier route. Ronick changing speeds too to make the defenders whiz by him.
1st and 10. Pittsburgh figuring something out about this Fort Worth defensive back coverage. It'll be a handoff right-hand side for Blitz, and you'll get a few yards going forward. 2nd and 4. They're on the precipice of field goal range for Otis Boudreau.
And now those outside runs are going to start, becoming impactful as the DBs try to fall back in coverage because of that prior big pass.
Right side. Nice run and spin from Churchill. He will be given the 1st down, but I have a feeling we will have a 2nd look and 3rd look at that before we get it official, as that is going to cause the red hanky to come out likely from the Fort Worth sideline, I think. No way. Are they letting this go? They are. No challenge. It did not look close. That's a shoulder from Blitz. He'll gain 4 yards, and Pittsburgh was given a gift right there.
I'm trying to theorize what the refs saw, but it didn't even look like the arm was stretched out to bring the ball over the line. No, they just gave it to him, and Fort Worth just accepted it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that happens, I guess, on occasion. This will be Churchill again, has the room, and the first down, and gets it down to the 8-yard line, all the way down to the 7, actually. First and goal for Pittsburgh, and they threaten again.
And it's not like Fort Worth, defensive coverage in the run was any bad. There was contact made early, and, being chased by the lineman there, it's just the broken tackles have been very impactful for this Pittsburgh running game.
And here comes first and goal from the 7-yard line for Pittsburgh, trying to take a 2-possession lead. Down the left-hand side is Lloyd. He'll move in motion.
Oh, he passes.
To the right side, incomplete.
Oh.
That was dropped, and that probably could have been better placement, and Levy Lease can't hang on.
And able to make the catch. Missed his first catch in his first target tonight. His 21 catches in the season to go with 216 yards and 1 touchdown. He was smelling the touchdown too if that swing pass was completed.
Second and goal. They're going to try and find it. I formation. 4:02 already left in the second quarter. BB Blitz going for his second one. Can't get there. Third and goal coming down from the 1-yard line. Ben Stone on the stop.
Yeah, Ben Stone needed to make that stop because it looked like the Lit sent someone to the shadow realm. Either the other DB in Zion Waddles or Delaney Nash just got demolished.
I formation again. Hand off. Got it. Touchdown. Pittsburgh found a way to get it done. Both Churchill and Bullets have touchdowns now.
4.5-point underdogs. They are now up 13-0, about to be 14-0, pending the extra point. And Chris, I think we are in upset alert right now. Potentially,
it's hard.
It's still the first half, but
yeah, but Pittsburgh's offense has come out. I mean, their first couple drives were nothing to be scared of, but these last couple drives have been either methodical and slow but effective, or they've gone chunk plays and been able to get it. 10 plays, 79 yards, taking 3:26 off of the clock, and that leaves Fort Worth with a bit of a scenario here. They should work to get some points before at least the end of the first half. It'll be Pittsburgh's ball when we come back for the third quarter as well. So this becomes a major 2-for-1 chance for Pittsburgh if they can get Fort Worth's offense off the field, and that's a decent return all the way down to the 29-yard line for Kane Stevens. And here we go, 3.5 minutes. Fort Worth looking up at a 14-0 scoreline in a game that they really, really need.
they really need this. If you look at, if I'm them and I look at my schedule, their next game is up against Albuquerque.
Yeah.
That's a difficult game to win. So you want to win the games you, on paper, are favored to win, but they're behind right now. They got to come up with the big answers here.
Yeah, they're going to need something, a little bit of postseason magic in the regular season from Fort Worth. They need to start things off with a touchdown. Delayed handoff, trying to move it left. It'll be a decent run forward, 6 yards for Jet 0, 2nd and 6.
And it's not like the run game ain't, is bad or anything. Jet 0 averaging 3.2 yards per carry in this game, 11 attempts, 35 yards. Respectable. It's just the dynamicism is not quite there.
Right side, another handoff, a spin move, and got the first down. What a fight from Jay-Z Bacon, able to move the... Good stuff from Fort Worth. Trying to get themselves on the board with 2 minutes, 49 seconds to go. 1st and 10. 4-3 look on defense for the Riverhogs, trying to keep everything in front of them. Clock continues to roll. They'll move Garrett Jr. from right side to left side of the formation. And Price is under center, 1st and 10. Pitch play, left side, has some room to go, and that's not going to go very far for Jet 0. 3-yard gain. Quick trip back to SFL HQ. Cameron Irvine has an update for us.
Thank you, Curtis. Washington and Bossier City flexed in tonight, and it's lived up to the billing so far, at least defensively. 5 combined turnovers in this first half. Bossier City just scored a touchdown. They have taken the lead 15-10 over Washington. Back to you.
Thank you, Cameron. That's a run for Bacon, and he's going to get enough for a first down. That game has some playoff implications as well. Bossier City trying to stay alive in one of the last playoff spots. They need a win against a very hard-nosed Washington Trident team on the other YouTube channel.
And there's implications outside of those teams in the matchup as you get the 2-minute warning here. Both time slots has implications for the teams in the game, but also outside. Washington, if they lose, Vancouver has a chance to sneak into the top of that division. And then here, Fort Worth, a chance to go above Bossier City if Bossier City loses.
Yeah, it's a big moment or two. That's a one-handed grab, 6 yards forward. You know, making an 18-foot catch one-handed is not easy. And it is a 2nd and 4. Really nice catch.
But that's the bread and butter of Henry McGee in that formation, the pair slot. Him in the slot receiver role, running inside, kind of like an arrow route. Quick pass, quick catch, 6 yards, and then they can run it here.
And they're in positive field position here. That's a broken tackle and nearly got enough for the first down, but not quite enough for Gent Zero. 3rd and 2, and this has been the Fort Worth Toros' Achilles heel so far tonight, is these 3rd and shorts. This is the biggest one so far. They do not want this drive to end up short. They've run it on every other opportunity and failed to get it on every other opportunity. Do they go back to the well? 3rd and 2. Eric Price is under center. They're going to move Hacker out wide to the right. I formation. It's a fullback dive up the middle, and they get the first down. I guess running it that time made sense. It'll be a timeout taken by Fort Worth.
Call him Alexander the Great, because Aaron Alexander in critical downs, they need to get the first down. You give it to him, he's going to give it to you. What a play by the fullback.
I feel like his name should be X, because X is going to give it to you.
Oh,
I like it.
Yes, I like it too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Single back look, Price, quick throw coming across on the in pattern, and that is a 6-yard gain. 2nd and 4, another timeout taken. And it is going to be, they're in field goal range at this point, but they really could use a touchdown more than that. Fort Worth trying to find it. Nickel look on defense for Pittsburgh. Price caught. That is Stevens on the grab. 1st and 10 down to the 18-yard line. And it's all 3 timeouts taken away by Fort Worth. And here comes a red zone trip for them, trying to get it back to a 1-score game.
3 passes by Price in this drive alone, which is half of his total in the first half. We're going to look for a pass here. I wonder if he's going to throw this deep into the end zone. Short step back, though.
Price caught it. Oh, what a catch. 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. Stephen Hacker brought that one in very tight coverage. They're going to go no huddle. Fort Worth trying to get back in the football game. That's out of the back of the end zone and incomplete, looking for Henry McGee.
Yeah, McGee was really bumped on that run route and unable to separate and make any yardage clearance between him and the defender. Just lucky, or just happy if I'm Fort Worth that ball's overthrown instead of underthrown to the defender.
32 seconds to go. They'll move Hacker from left to right. It's a man-to-man look from Pittsburgh. See what Price does to adjust from the 4-yard line. Price throws. That's incomplete. Ooh. That one was dropped again. Trying to get it to Alexander, I do believe. 3rd and goal.
Yeah.
No, RDJ. Yep, that was Robert G. Jr. Yep. Wow.
One more attempt here, Chris. Well,
yeah.
If they attempt this here, and I think they might just go for the field goal if they don't convert this 3rd and goal.
Here we go. Big 3rd down. Biggest of the game so far for either side. Against the nickel look, Fort Worth. With 29 seconds left in the half, Price will roll right side. That ball is caught, and it's a touchdown. It's Cade Stevens, who's been all over the map today so far. He finds Peter.
Let me take you back to week 7. Fort Worth down 14-0 against DC. What do? They answer back with touchdowns to eventually bring it to overtime, reminiscing here in this game, down 14-0 again, and the answer back with a touchdown with 26 seconds to go. They are not yet out of this game.
No, not at all. That's a much needed touchdown as this one is up and through on the extra point, as it'll be Amelia Rose finding the uprights. 14-7. Pittsburgh's going to get this ball back with 26 seconds left and all 3 timeouts. I'm not saying there's a large-scale chance for them to get points, but it could happen. That kick is up and gone, but it is returnable from just inside the end zone. Out to the 20, the 25, to the 30. That's a real nice return. Broken tackle to the 40, to the 50, and he may go down the sideline. How about it? Devin Lloyd to the end zone. Touchdown. Pittsburgh gets it right back.
First, you said you're not going to say it, but there might be a small chance of them scoring. I don't think it's a small chance. I think it was a giant chance with Devin Lloyd with the ball, returning it for the kickoff touchdown. What a play.
All right, so Devin Lloyd brings it back all the way to the house, and it is a touchdown for Pittsburgh to get them back up 2 possessions with 12 seconds to go. A kickoff return is how you do it, and that's how you answer a really good drive from Fort Worth. Kick is up and on the way. It is good from Boudreau, and they restore the 14-point advantage.
Yeah, that's rough. Your head coach, you just had an incredible offensive drive to bring yourself 1 score away, and your special teams give up a touchdown. That's rough.
And that is going to be a touchback for Fort Worth as Stevens will down it back there. And with 11 seconds left, I feel like the wind has been taken out of their sails. That is the best way to make a possible 2-1 for Pittsburgh. They get the kickoff return touchdown 11 seconds later at the end of this first half. They're going to get the ball back at the end of the start of the second half and be able to go score some points before Fort Worth touches the football again. So this is a major momentum development, as that'll be a catch over the middle, 1st and 10. They'll go no huddle. Shouldn't matter. I don't think they're going to get this off. 1 second on the clock, and that'll do it. So first half in the books. What a half it was. It's 21-7 Pittsburgh, the underdogs ruling the roost from the Steel City. Mark Lopez, break it down for us.
I mean, you said it. What a half it was, right? The first quarter, 0 scoring drives. We had an interception followed by 4 punts. What we have in the second quarter, a touchdown, we have a punt, and then a touchdown, a passing or by Pittsburgh. So 2 back-to-back scoring drives by Pittsburgh, a scoring drive by Fort Worth, Pittsburgh with a kickoff return touchdowns. We just saw 28 points in 1 single quarter of play. We thought this was going to be a defensive struggle by both teams, Chris. I think both teams are proving us wrong. Stevens is the player of the game, but boy, Pittsburgh is on fire.
Yeah, we're going to be right back after taking a quick break, brought to you by Brakes GPT.
We just pulled a full-size Taylor Swift helmet. Shout out to all our Swifties. Travis Kelce. This is a Giants Lawrence Taylor.
Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Johnson with the Ocho Cinco.
We have a Drew Brees.
Is that an O.J. Simpson jersey?
An Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Brady! Tom Brady!
Break into the world of sports memorabilia collecting with Brakes GPT, featuring signed football jerseys, helmets, football or photos, and more. Brakes GPT offers you the shot at winning autographed and authenticated sports memorabilia at a fraction of the price. Join the community of collectors on our Brakes GPT Facebook page and lock in your shot at hitting a humongous headliner on our site, brakesgpt.com. Pittsburgh's going to start with the football, and the full tide of momentum is on their side as this will be returned. And how about another deep return out to the 35-yard line? That is not ideal for Fort Worth, but Pittsburgh faithful are loving it as Ben Harrison gets a good return on it.
I'm looking at Luis Gonzalez, the head coach, on the sideline, and he must be jumping up and down. The special teams make the tackle. Oh my goodness. They almost broke away for another one. They're starting at the 35 now.
That's like the anti-Cliff Allen. No, special teams! 1st and 10 for the Riverhogs.
Hands up in the air.
Exactly. 4-3 look on defense for Fort Worth. They desperately need a stop to try to kill this momentum. Twin screw in motion. He'll move to the bottom of your screen, left of the formation. Handoff by Fennec, and it will be a BB Blitz run that'll get him 8 yards and a shoulder into a couple of defenders, but he does go down, 2nd and 2.
Let's see who's a tight end. I think that's Tyler Gregory with a nice block downfield that could have been a potential tackler. Instead, allowing Blitz to pick up 8 in one play.
Yeah, good stuff from Blitz. Good stuff from the blocking for Pittsburgh. 11 carries, 35 yards. That's a pretty good, efficient day at the office so far. It'll be a handoff, and they'll get 1, and that was generous. Blitz on the carry again. 3rd and 1 coming up here from Pittsburgh, who has had their own share of 3rd and short struggles.
That's right. We'll see if Fort Worth can do what they did last half, where they sent linebackers or DBs behind the line of scrimmage to blow the run up early.
9:07 left in this 3rd quarter against a 4-3 look on defense. That's a 1st down and more. Blitz, 3rd straight carry, and he's going to have himself a 1st down. There's your look at the total first half stats. And, well, there's a lot of even numbers there, but not even on the score.
No, there was you got to also look at the interception in the first drive. Could have been points for Fort Worth there, but Pittsburgh like where they are right now.
Over the right side, and it's picked off. Back the other way. Fort Worth gets the turnover that they needed. That is perfect from Aiden Davis. The timing is impeccable.
Wow, that was just overthrown by Fennec. We'll see right here, overthrows the receiver, and that's just right place, right time, and something must have happened. Pressure probably got to Fennec, had to let the ball go early before his receiver got to where he had to go to.
Yeah, he's just a little bit of too much on the arm from the quarterback. And here comes 1st and 10 for Fort Worth. Handoff right side and a broken tackle, but gets taken down after only a yard. That's another chance for Fort Worth now to get back into this football game, and a drive where they desperately need points. They've gotten step 1 completed. Phase 1 is complete on this master plan to come back in this football game. Now they have to find a second.
And like I said, they've come back for 4th and 0 to force overtime against DC 21-21. They never led that game ever, and they do lose it in overtime, but they can tie up when behind.
This will be a run forward, and there's not a lot there to run through. 0 with the run, and it's 3rd and 7. One positive thing, it's not 3rd and short for Fort Worth, so they might have a better chance.
I don't know if that's a typical thing that I would say positive, but it's not 3rd and short. As you said, they're struggling there.
Bunch left. Price rolls right. Throws across.
Nice.
That's caught. 1st down and 10. And just like we were saying, 3rd and long is the key. Stephen Hacker has the 1st down.
Hacker running another in route from the bunch formation. You can already see him crossing your screen here, and that's just wide open. All the safeties fell back deep, and Hacker just runs horizontal where there's no coverage.
1st and 10 for Eric Price and company. 9 for 12, 101, 1-1. So ones are wild. 1st and 10 for Price. He will put it over the top. That one's caught down inside the red zone to the 16-yard line. Stephen Hacker is starting to catch fire. 1st and 10 for Fort Worth again as they're in field goal range.
I would even say not only is he catching fire, he's been on fire all night. He's now up to 6 receptions and 7 targets. So he's only missed 1 throw to him, up to 82 yards. The only thing he's missing now is a touchdown to keep his team afloat.
1st and 10. Left side of the formation. They're going to move Hacker into motion, go to the right side of the formation. Against a 4-3 look, this looks like a heavy set. They'll throw. Price over the top. That's caught.
There you go.
Quick little throw. Gets him 9 more yards. Henry McGee is your target, and it's 2nd and 1.
Yeah, every time I see that formation and Henry McGee as the slot receiver, if you're any team, you just got to key in. Henry McGee's going to run the inside slant, arrow route, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Got to stop that middle catch pass.
Oh, and this is a big second down. Got to get the first. The shoulder charge
wow.
is good for Jet Zero, and they'll have a first and goal opportunity.
Jet Zero, more like Jet 1 yard to go, 1 yard to gain.
Jet Hero, am I right?
Yes,
first
that's
and
probably
goal
a better
for Fort Worth. Heavy set look, 4-3 again on the defensive side. Left side, it's Jet Zero again, pushing his way
that was
forward.
close.
And he'll get down to the 2-yard line, second and goal.
That was close because almost everyone downfield was blocked. There was only one or two. There was one open linebacker and one trailing DB who made those cleanup tackles. Zero still able to push forwards. I wonder if they might go attack the run inside this time.
They've run a lot in this game. There could be another one coming. Jay-Z Bacon is fresh out there. He's going to move to the right, and he is taken down behind the line of scrimmage. They'll lose a yard in the process. Third and goal from the 3.
Again, trying to cut back to the outside, but it must be the angle of his run that just slows him down enough that the tacklers get to him.
Interesting spot. They actually spotted that at the 4-yard line. Single back look. Price will throw. Pressure coming. Puts it to the outside on the screen. Robert Garrett Jr. is going to be taken down. They tried to put the screen on the tight end, and it's a big-time hit. Pittsburgh forces the stop, and Fort Worth will have to settle for a field goal.
That looks like we'll see what if this counts as incentive. Could have been a tackle inside the 2-yard, but just enough to force 3 instead of 6.
That was Tom Krieg, who possibly earned some incentive money there, as this is up and through from Amelia Rose. 10 plays, 48 yards, and can confirm that tackle was made at the 1-yard line to stop the screen, and it is 21-10 Pittsburgh. So there's your incentive right there.
Man, RGJ still without a receiving touchdown. That could have been it for him for this season. But untimely, well, at least for Pittsburgh, timely tackle for Fort Worth. Untimely touchdown conversion.
Ben Harrison on the return for Pittsburgh. And Fort Worth did get points on that drive, so that's not to be understated in a game like this where the scoring seems to have slowed down in this third quarter. It is 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh, 21-10 with 4:16 to go in the third.
Down 11. 11 points is a tricky deficit because a touchdown and a field goal won't cut it. You need a 2-point conversion there.
Yeah, there's 3 times or 2 times at least you gotta get in the end zone there. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh. It'll be a handoff through the middle for BB Blitz. He's got a roll, and he will. That's an 8-yard carry as he brings the defender with him at 2nd and 2.
BB Blitz now climbing up to 3.6 yards per carry. At one point in this game, he was averaging 2 yards per carry. So lately, he has been pushing through for more yards and has been successful. They just don't turn over because the prior drive looked very promising.
Heavy set look. Wide receiver off to the right. Run play. Got to try to use his blocker. He'll get free of the blocker and still gain a couple of yards. 3rd and 1 coming up, and the dreaded 3rd and short stands in front of Pittsburgh.
It's just kind of funny how 3rd and 1 is dreaded for the offense as opposed to for the defense.
It definitely is a thing, though. Heavy set look. Want to try to keep this drive alive. Fort Worth trying to get the stop. Pitch play right side. He has got the first down. BB Bullets past midfield to the 48-yard line. Pittsburgh gets the job done, and they'll move the chains.
I think E.K. Vincent tried to Superman tackle, but missed right there. He just missed the tackle. That tackle would have forced a punt. Instead, it's 1st and 10.
All right, 1st and 10. Like you said, for Pittsburgh, this becomes a pretty large-scale portion of this drive. Handoff right side. It is a hit on Churchill, and he will bounce to the ground. It's 2nd and 8 after just a 2-yard gain.
And now Churchill as well with carry number 8. Both these players, Blitz and Churchill, Blitz averaging 4.1 now. Churchill 4.5 per carry. This run game has been pretty efficient.
That is another run. through the right side to the left, and that is a weird one for Blitz, but it worked out. 3rd and 4 and another third, this time medium for Pittsburgh. They're in offensive territory. They can score points near this spot. 15 plays, 61 yards for Blitz. To throw, pressure coming, evades the sack. He's going to try to run it. He will lose the chance and won't get back to the line of scrimmage. Ben Stone finishes the play off, and it's 4th down. Pittsburgh will punt.
Yeah, I think it's Duffy with the near sack to his name. Ben Stone cleans it up. It's incidental tackle as they just collide into each other. Could have been a sack. Credit Fendick for staying upright, but credit everyone else on the defense for even forcing that play to break down like that.
Going to be down to 90 seconds left in this 3rd quarter, as this is going to bounce into the end zone, then out the back to cause it to go to the 20-yard line. And Lamar Marshall, the backup outside linebacker for Pittsburgh, is down on the play, so they'll tend to him for a moment. 1st and 10 for the Toros as they get this ball back at their own 20-yard line. Chance for them to get it back to a 1-score game again. Price will hand it off. Jet 0 won't go very far. 2 yards added to his totals, and it's 2nd and 8.
A similar play to what they've been running in short downs.
Yeah.
They bring out here in 1st down. That cutting back to the outside is a little too slow for this Pittsburgh defense.
Maybe if they'd run that on 3rd and shorts, they wouldn't be such a problem so far today. That's a Price throw, and Robert Garrett Jr. has the catch. 1st down and 10 for the Cowboy.
Well, that's a nice play call. I'm going to say Robert Garrett Jr., nice turnaround at the last second to get the catch on time, because it didn't look like on his way to his route he was looking back at his quarterback, but just a split second, turns around, makes the catch. What a play on an athletic play by the guy.
43 seconds left in this 3rd quarter. I formation. Price will hand it off, has some chance to go to the right for 0. He'll get 4 yards and no further, and that will be the second to last play we see of this 3rd quarter.
Price actually with Alexander as the lead blocker. Nice block, but Price getting stuck behind Alexander himself, unfortunately.
4-3 look on defense. 2nd and 6. The last play of this 3rd quarter. Fort Worth trying to find some good fortune here. Broken tackle, and J.Z. Bacon is taken down after only a yard. 3rd and 5, and that is going to put a bow on this 3rd frame. Put your 4s up. All the meaningful numbers in chat as well. Fort Worth is moving the ball, but they are down 21-10 in a, proverbial must-win for the Toros. Chris Curtis, Mark Lopez in the broadcast booth, and it's Ron Haynes and Justin Reside in the stats truck with us today. Mark Lopez, this Fort Worth team needs to score. They're in the I formation to start this 4th quarter. Throw over the middle, caught, and it's Henry McGee on the catch. 1st and 10 for the Toros.
Yeah, a win here is pivotal for them. On the other game, Bossier City is up 19-17.
Yep.
If Bossier City comes away with the win, they stay firm in their spot in their division. Fort Worth becomes, 6th and 5th here. This is a key win for them.
Yeah, if they can get it, but they are currently down. Bossier City winning that game is a bit of a surprise. Washington has been the favorite in that matchup all the way through, and after the shellacking that Bossier City took at the hands of Vancouver last week, they are looking for a positive. Maybe they found it. Price over the right side. That one's caught.
There you go.
Down to the 37-yard line for Henry McGee again. He's been the favorite target on this drive. 1st and 10.
Yeah, I mean, it works. Those passes have been working to Henry McGee on some kind of vertical post route. And I don't know, they should probably just keep going to it because you're down 11 with less than 9 minutes to go.
And how about that line? 9 for 10 with a touchdown. His
Wow.
last 10 throws for Eric Price. That is key. That is a run forward, just a couple of yards given for Jay-Z Bacon. And Monzuma comes up and makes the hit. 2nd and 8 for Fort Worth.
Now with 8 total tackles and 1 TFL to his name tonight, he's been working overtime. Team leader in tackles is Kane Vasquez with 13.
Oh, nice one-handed grab for McGee. We've seen that play before, and that one had some style points at it. That's your Retroid nice hands catch of the game.
Sick catch in stride, completes it, and takes the first down as well. That's a play that I'm like, hey, they haven't answered this. Keep going back to that play, please.
Fort Worth from the 25-yard line in a spot where they need some points. Price throws, caught down to the 12 to the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Fort Worth. McGee with his 3rd catch of the drive.
Wow, that's just they can feel it. They can feel a touchdown on the horizon for them. They're down 11, and 7 on the board is going to be very helpful to get this lead down.
2 to the right, 1 in the backfield. 1st and goal for the Toros from the 9-yard line. They need it. They got it. Touchdown. You called it earlier. Robert Garrett Jr. with his 1st of the season.
And what a time to get it in a time of dire need. You are down 2 scores, 11 points. Let's start the comeback in the 4th with my first touchdown of the season, says RGJ. What a route, too.
Yeah, that was a go route. He just got into traffic and busted his way through. So here comes Amelia Rose with an extra point, and it's an important one to get it to a 4-point contest. Yeah, 12 straight completions. There you go for Eric Price, as Rose is going to add on the extra point. 21-17 Pittsburgh. They've seen their lead evaporate. And now Pittsburgh's in a spot where they have to answer if they want to try to keep this lead. Otherwise, they give Fort Worth a chance to come back and take it. Should be Lloyd back there on the return, and he will touch it back into the end zone. So here comes Ace Fennick and company, now with a task and a tusk ahead of them, 1st and 10. Oh, big moments in this football game. Key moment in Pittsburgh's season. Bigger moment in Fort Worth's season as it sits right now. Ronick is in motion, right to left across your screen. Handoff. Blitz gets a few. 2nd and 7. 7:21 to go in this 4th quarter.
And now a field goal here will make them officially a full touchdown up against Fort Worth. A touchdown here is going to be back-breaking for Fort Worth.
Handoff. Left side, and that is going to be a 1-yard gain. Key 3rd down for both sides. Pittsburgh needs to hold on to this football and chew some clock. Fort Worth chomping at the bit.
Pittsburgh in the first half was 3 for 6 on 3rd downs. This half, 2 for 3. They've only had 3 3rd down attempts. This is 3rd down attempt number 4.
Oh,
for them,
they got it. Down to the 40-yard line. It's Devin Lloyd. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh, and they move the chains.
Devin Lloyd, that's catch number 2 in 3 targets. You know, if to go with his return touchdowns, he's my early player of the game if Pittsburgh comes away with a win.
I mean, he's the guy that makes the difference right now with that kickoff return. That happened at the end of the first half. With just a few seconds left in it. And now here come the River Hogs. That is Churchill on the run. He's going to roll and tumble and get down at 5 yards. Game update. Back to SFL HQ we go. Cameron Irvine.
What a block, Curtis. Washington at Bossier City, 19-17, 3rd and goal. Washington punches it in. Bossier City's across the 50, 24-19 Trident as they enter the 4th. Back to you.
Thank you very much. That game's getting tight as well. That is a chance for Churchill, and he's got a first down. Now both blocks are at the 50-yard line. Both games in the block are in one possession mode. What a couple of games to be on this Friday night. 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh as they move it.
Yeah, if I'm Fort Worth, I have both games open. As Bossier City's win or loss is pivotal for them. If I'm Vancouver, I'm also watching this game because they can, get away on top of their division.
Yeah, that's a run and a tumble. They're going to say 2 yards. E.K. Vincent comes up with the hit. 2nd and 8. More time ticks down on this clock in a must-win scenario for the Fort Worth Toros. Pittsburgh, unfortunately, already eliminated from playoff contention, but you wouldn't know it the way they're playing this game. That is a tackle behind the line. 3rd and long. E.K. Vincent on the stop, and a 3rd and mighty scenario for the Riverhogs, and the Toros can smell the sideline on defense.
Well, Fennec made his completion earlier here in 3rd and long. If you're a defense, you got to find a way to get off the field and give your offense a chance to get the ball back.
Pittsburgh looking for their 7th conversion on 3rd and 10. Throw, right side, it's caught! Down the field they go! It is Ziggy Roenick, 1st and 10 in the red zone!
Sorry, Ziggy Roenick, if I doubted you for player of the game. You might be actually player of the game. And what key catches by him. I mean, Devin Lloyd earlier too with the insane catch by Roenick said, were we going to give Fort Worth a chance? How about? And oh no.
37 yards on the throw and catch. Puts Ziggy Roenick over the century mark for yards, but more importantly, puts the Riverhogs in scoring position in the red zone. 1st and 10. 4 minutes to go. Looking to throw this right side, out of bounds, threw it away.
Yeah, just had to throw it away there. Looks like downfield there weren't any open routes. On that out route, his receiver was actually further upwards downfield than he'd expect. So incompletion better than an interception.
2nd and long. Got to get it down to the 7-yard line for the first down. Clock continues to tick away. Throw left side, caught. Not a lot to it, but it's something. It's 1 yard. Ben Stone comes up to make the hit. 3rd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, no forward yardage there means that the receiver being brought down at the 9 after only 1 yard gain, but he really run 5 yards backwards.
Chance for Fennec, throws, end zone well out of the back, and they will attempt a field goal. So this gets kicked. That is Otis Boudreau. I can't speak today. Otis Boudreau has a chance to make this a 7-point game again, as this one's well out of the back of the end zone. And that would still leave it at a 1-possession contest, and Fort Worth has a lot of time and all 3 timeouts to get this done. But step 1 is for Boudreau to put this through the uprights. 33 yards left hash. Snap is good, hold good, kick up and on the way. It is up, and it is through just inside that right upright. 12 plays, 62 yards for Pittsburgh, capping it off with a Boudreau kick to give them a 7-point advantage.
And this has signs of their game against Florida. It must be against Florida, that one game where in one play, Henry McGee goes for an 80-yard touchdown for the final score of the game. There was 2 minutes left with a touchdown, but they never looked back against Florida, got the win there on a very close game. And I tell you what, this is now the 6th game in a row where they have won or lost in 10 or less points.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wild scenario, but yeah, that's a pretty wild stat that you just brought up. It's a 1-possession game, 24-17. The team that's trailing has the football in Pittsburgh. Fort Worth has it from their own 27-yard line. This is the biggest drive of their season thus far. First and 10. Price over the middle, and it's picked off. It's Dimitri Manzuma who grabs it and takes it back to the 33-yard line. First and 10 for Pittsburgh.
Oh, 80-yard touchdown here. Manzuma says, let me shut the door down. What a catch, too. If he hadn't already given the nice hands catch to McGee earlier, that would have been mine, but insane.
Well, that is one way to potentially slam the door shut. Now, Pittsburgh's going to take their time and run down this clock. They're at the precipice of field goal range. Boudreaux has kicked it from there, can kick it from there. First and 10. Handoff through the middle for Blitz, and he'll make it closer. That'll put them over the field goal line, essentially. And it's 2nd and 3.
Ooh, 3 minutes. Fort Worth. A turnover is what they need here.
Gotta get it.
Points on the board. It's going to be difficult.
They will be in dire straits going up against an Albuquerque team next week if they lose this football game. And with Fort Worth, I mean, they have a chance to control their own destiny with a win here tonight, but becomes a major scenario should they not be able to bring this back. Churchill's trying to slam the door shut down to the 12-yard line. First and 10 for Pittsburgh.
Yes, Churchill says, hey guys, just say your prayers now. It's amen, peace be with you. I'm out. Look at me get all these yards for a first down. That just burns more clock and gets them in better scoring range.
Here we go. Just over 2 minutes left. That's going to be the last play before this 2-minute warning. And it does not leave a lot of time for Fort Worth to try to come back in this football game. First and 10, but 120 seconds left as we come to the final 2 minutes of what's been a very good ball game in the Steel City. Churchill's been good back there, as has Blitz. Both of them have a touchdown in this football game. It is Churchill back there at the moment. Handoff. Actually, sorry, that is Blitz. Blitz left side, and he gets taken down after a 4-yard gain. Timeout taken by Fort Worth.
Yeah, this loss, if it does become a loss and it's looking like it, is gonna shake up that bottom of the top 12. You got 5-6 win teams in addition to Fort Worth now, and the loss here puts them closer to potentially missing the playoffs.
4-3 look on defense for Fort Worth. They got to find a way to get this ball back. That is a run forward, 3rd and 3. Pittsburgh 3 yards away from stealing away this game.
Not only that, they can just run it, Chris. They only need to run it, burn clock, and make the field goal. And it just might be lights out against, unless, Hacker and company can pull off a magic.
Well, let's see. They need something. Fort Worth does. They got to force this ball out somewhere. Get the ball back just about by any means necessary. Handoff through the middle. They get the stop on Blitz. 1:44 left, and Fort Worth is going to call what is their last timeout in this football game. That's it. They can no longer stop.
Great defensive adjustment to pinch the inside as they audibled from a widespread kind of zone formation. But a good decision on defense, perhaps a little bit too late as you're looking at potentially the nail in the coffin.
That is Woodrow's kick. It is up, and it is true. 27-17. Now Fort Worth, 10-point deficit. Need to score quickly. They have a little bit of time. They do not have any timeouts. So they got to work the sidelines, and that's about it. Here we go. That is a kick to the back of the end zone. They will touch it back to give themselves as much time as possible. 100 seconds to go in the game. Eric Price back out here. Laser focus they need from their quarterback. as he tries to put his team on his back. Price over the middle, and it's picked off. That's your ball game. Back the other way. It's another big turnover for Price, and on 2 consecutive drives, the first play from scrimmage, he throws a game-sealing interception.
They started the half promising, Chris. They go 10 straight points in the second half. They yield 1 field goal to Pittsburgh, which puts them down 7 still. But then you talked about it. The last 2 drives has been 2 picks in as many plays.
And that is going to seal it. They will go victory formation a couple times to finish things off. Pittsburgh's going to get their 4th win of the season, put them at 4-7. And man, oh man, that puts Fort Worth in a really rough way, put them at 6-5, and their season likely on the line next week against Albuquerque.
Wow. What a game. It's Pittsburgh really with the underdog story here as Fort Worth.
Yeah.
I was talking about this prior to the game, Chris. Probably underrated as far as their record goes. They've faced the strongest strength of schedule, number 1 in the league.
They have.
And I thought they could have easily been an 8-2 team with how many close games they've had. Pittsburgh has another story to tell, though, as they upset the Fort Worth Toros.
Toros, I mean, you're right. They get a bounce or 2 one way or the other, and their 6-5 record is 8-4 or 8-3 or whatever the case is. And now they are 1 game away, win or lose, from deciding their season. And it may very well come down to one of those 1-possession games again, as it'll be the last meal of the game for Pittsburgh, who's going to come out with a 27-17 win over the Fort Worth Toros in a game that the Toros had to have and did not get. They will be lamenting this loss if they're not able to get in. Pittsburgh wins it 27-17. Let's go to the stats. Mark Lopez, break it down. Pittsburgh gets their 4th win of the season.
Yeah, Pittsburgh really took momentum in the first half. They go up 21-7. You know, you add Devon Lloyd's return touchdown, and they never let go of momentum. Perhaps they only scored 6 points in the second half. You see right there in the points breakdown per quarter, 21 of those points all in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And then 6 finally at the 4th. But Fort Worth, they had things going for them to start the second half, and then nothing. A whimper to end the game, essentially.
Creed got 2 interceptions in this football game. Eric Price to a total of 4 to the Pittsburgh defense. And at a time where they desperately needed better play from their offense, they just could not get it when it mattered most. Pittsburgh gets the win. We've got more coming up tomorrow. Saturday games back on the SFL's version of VFN. For Mark Lopez, I'm Chris Curtis saying goodbye and good night. For more, log on to simfl.net. Have a good night, everybody.